Hey there, welcome to the Baby Playbook podcast. I'm Nikolina Koewska-Karufe, and when I was pregnant, I thought I did everything right when it came to preparing myself for motherhood. I read all the books and did all the classes, but nothing got me ready for the chaos and confusion that hit me once my little boy Noah came into the world. Figuring out your baby is hard work and entails a lot of late night Googling. This podcast is all about guiding you through the mayhem, from sleep schedules to decoding cries, feeling the baby blues, and then all of a sudden starting solids. There's so much to figure out when it comes to your newborn. Let me help you get there with the guidance of experts and first-hand experience so you can spend more time enjoying your baby and less time anxiously searching for answers. Those answers are right here in the Baby Playbook podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to the Baby Playbook podcast. I hope everybody is doing really well, and I want to point out that this episode is for those who are expecting a baby. So baby hasn't arrived yet, but also for those who the baby has arrived and you need a bit of help with, making some final decisions on big purchases when it comes to your baby. Trust me when I say a baby can get expensive, especially your first baby. From clothes, food, bottles, nappies, toys, furniture, dumb gimmick onesies, you will be buying things left, right, and center for this tiny little human. If it is your first child, as I've said, you also experience this kind of trial period of buying products you think you need that actually never end up either being used or the baby hates the first time they use it. This is, I want to say, kind of unavoidable. You just have to accept it. But to make it a little bit better and a little bit more planned out, here I am this episode with a bit of advice that can hopefully help you cut some costs and cut some corners when it comes to these big baby purchases. Now, this isn't a full list of what you need, but more the things that I recommend and some tips. And I recommend other products in other podcast episodes to come across this podcast. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to list all these tips and tricks of what to buy before the baby comes or what to buy for the baby, very much needed items, and I will be linking all of these in the show notes. Okay, so I want to first talk about a pram. If any part of you thinks that you will have more than one child, even if it's close-ish in age, up to 3 years or so, then get a double pram. Make one pram purchase that will last you through all your kids. Do not make the mistake of buying a single pram that does not convert into some sort of a double and then ending up with 2 prams and 2 kids. It is too much. Now, also remember that most toddlers don't like sitting on the bottom of a pram. So get a pram where the baby bassinet can be on the bottom, or get a pram that is side by side seats, okay? Babies do not care where they are, but toddlers do care where they are. And also a great tip here is get a pram that you can also attach a little kind of wheeler scooty thing to the back. There are so many brands that do this, but I will link what I think is my favorite pram brand in the show notes for you. And also my big tip on this is, if you are pregnant for 9 months, then you have the time to wait for a sale and snatch it up quick. Something like Black Friday, end of financial year, Christmas sales. Get a really good deal then. So decide on the pram that you want pretty early and then just wait around for that deal. Now, a big question mark that parents have on their what to buy list is whether or not they should get a capsule. So this is a car seat. This is a capsule. A capsule is the car seat that you can use for newborn babies. It usually can last between 0 and 4 months. Some babies can stay in it until 6 months. But it is very much that early period. And I would like to say, I'm not one for wasting money, but I totally think a capsule is worth it. Look, your baby might only last 4 months in this thing, but being able to keep them sleeping from the car into the house for those first few months is worth that extra purchase. Being able to just maneuver them in and out, attach them into the pram, because a lot of prams have the convertible kind of levers that you can pop the capsule on. It is so helpful. Now, hint, Facebook Marketplace has some really good capsules available if you need to buy this. and a car seat soon after. So if you need something more affordable, my big tip when it comes to all baby items is definitely having a look on secondhand items. Facebook Marketplace is a big one here, but of course, make sure that anything that you buy is up to the safety standards in your country. This is really, really important. Now, also the other note here is to check if any of your friends with kids have a capsule that you can borrow for those few months. As I said, you can only last really 4 months or so in this capsule as a baby, so it's unlikely that you'll cross over in use. So a really good one to perhaps borrow if you ask around when it comes to your friends who has one at hand. Let's talk about a baby backpack now. Now, notice I have said a baby backpack. Do not, I repeat, do not get a side baby bag. A backpack is key. It helps you when you're loading the car with 35 bags full of kids stuff every time you leave the house. You have this backpack on and it's really, really easy. If you're walking the baby, you can have it behind you. It's just really practical. Now, I will link the backpack that I have been using up until now, no, about 4, and I still use this because it is wipeable and it also converts to a side bag with a long strap when you need. So this is really handy one. Let's talk about a baby bouncer. Now, I would like to say no baby that I have ever met hates sitting in a bouncer until they reach a particular age, okay? And that is the age at which they need to be entertained all the time. So then the bouncer ends up being something that I guess they can only be in for, 10 to 20 minutes. You will soon find out, or you are finding out, that babies need increments of time in which they're doing things, and a baby bouncer is really useful in this. Now, a baby bouncer in particular is just something that they can sit in comfortably that is great for their age and it's age appropriate for them. But it's so handy because you can do things like pop them in there so that they can, look at different play items. You can pop them in there when you're doing the dishes. You can pop them in there when you guys are having dinner. It's just really, really helpful because what you'll soon find out is newborn babies in particular, they get pretty sick of laying on their back pretty quickly. So baby bouncer is key here because they like to be elevated. They like to be looking at things and kind of feel a little bit part of the team. The other point I'll make with the bouncer is try and get something that's like, you can fold away, or it can store really well, because you don't want this huge bouncer just sitting around in your lounge room being really, really annoying and in the way all of the time. I will link the bouncer that I like, of course, in the show notes. Now, let's talk about a drying rack. This is something that you will need whether or not you bottle feed. If you have a dummy, you'll need it. If you start solids and you have spoons and plates, this is like a bit of a weird drying rack that is only specifically for baby items, because you obviously are sterilizing these items and they need to dry in a separate area. So it's like a turf style drying rack. I recommend that as the best. Make sure you wash it regularly though, and if it's dishwasher safe, hallelujah. But make sure you put it in there, wash it, because it can get pretty gross inside if you do leave it. My other tip here is to get a collapsible bathtub. Space saving, portable. You do not want those bulky bathtubs that end up just like sitting around your toilet, and when you're in the bathroom, you're staring at it, you're hating it, you don't know where to place it. Get a collapsible one. It is really handy. Now, the other tip I have just when it comes to bathing, get your partner, I would say, to bath the baby each night as it becomes their little bonding experience. This was something Nick did with our kids. It was kind of their opportunity to have a bath, have a bit of time together, of course, because he went back to work and I spent the day with the babies. So it was kind of his nice opportunity to bond with them. And it also means that you have a little bit of time to get things together towards the end of the day, which is usually when the bath occurs. Now, another thing that you will need, and this is more in the handy if your baby gets sick list, is a snot sucker. Yep, I said a snot sucker. So babies, of course, can't blow their nose, which you'll soon find out, or you are finding out, and you'll need to help them do this. So a snot sucker is key. You'll need to buy one. I know it sounds gross, but it is very necessary. The other thing that should be on your list is a thermometer. Now, you need actually 2 thermometers. You need one for the bath and one for your baby's room. Oh, I should say 3, and of course you need one to take their temperature in case they are sick. Now, when I'm talking about the ones that within the rooms, what I would say is obviously when you are giving your baby a bath, you need the water to be a particular temperature so that it's nice and comfortable for them. So get yourself a bath thermometer, and then you can also get a thermometer for your baby's room. What you'll soon find out is that the temperature of the room has a lot to do with whether they're comfortably sleeping and whether they're getting up in the middle of the night. Of course, we'll talk about sleep a lot more in this podcast as we go episode by episode, but just for the sake of adding this to your what to buy list, I would say do not go off the temperature on a video monitor. It could be a few degrees off, and a few degrees makes a huge difference whether it's too cold or too warm in the room. Get yourself a proper thermometer for the room so that you know what the baby's feeling within the night, during the day, and you can pop it at cot height to ensure you are getting an accurate reading of what they are actually feeling while sleeping. I do have a recommendation for this, which I will pop in the show notes, of course. Now let's talk about skin and bath products. So this is something I very, very quickly learned with my babies. There are a lot of baby bath and skin products out there. It is pretty overwhelming. And when you first start out, I was a big, all natural kind of gal. Let's get the chemicals and the toxins out and let's just give them all natural products. But after speaking with a number of pediatric dermatologists and DPs, I was told by my GP and pediatric dermatologist that we need to be extremely careful to avoid any products that contain food-based ingredients. So food-based ingredients within skin and bath products for babies, because food products are meant to actually be introduced to our body through our mouth and not our skin. Now you can go all natural. I'm not saying that you cannot buy all natural skin and bath products, but just ensure there are no foods in the ingredient list. This is my tip, because this is anything like coconut oil, avocado extract, orange oil. This means that they could potentially, have an influence on introducing these foods within their diet. So something to think about. Another thing to add to your to-buy list is a nail trimmer. Now, cutting your kids' nails will become a whole thing. Okay, so first of all, because I don't know why, but their nails grow really quickly and they're really sharp. They're kind of thin, razor sharp, and they can do some damage. So you will be trimming them pretty often. And then on top of that, they're so petite and so tiny that you get kind of scared to trim them. So you need something really, really helpful. So you need a nail trimmer or a filer. I will once again link in the bio what I love to use on my babies. I would say avoid using normal clippers. It is so risky, and yes, we were the parents that accidentally clipped our baby's little skin on their finger, and just avoid it. That is my advice there, just avoid it. You will need thousands and thousands and thousands of mini towels. Now, of course, I'm exaggerating. You do not need thousands, but just get a big packet of these from some discount department stores. You need it for everything. You basically need it to cover your baby's chest in the bath, for burping, for cleaning up all sorts of mess. It's super handy just to have these little mini towels everywhere in your house. The other thing you'll need, of course, is baby towels. I would say have at least 5 on hand as you'll eventually start bathing your baby pretty regularly. It kind of starts to become a pretty routine thing just to be able to kind of ease out at the end of the day. It's something that they quite enjoy as well while they're quite young. So have about 5 on hand so you have a good rotation. Of course, the other thing you will need is nappies. Yep, lots of nappies. Now, these are my tips when it comes to nappies. First of all, when buying nappies, only buy one box at a time. You'd be surprised how quickly some babies grow out the newborn size and then the size of one nappy. So you don't want to be left with all these bulk nappies that you got on sale, which you actually never end up using. Now, if you live in Australia, there are a lot of nappies to choose from. Actually, if you live all around the world, there are a lot of nappies to choose from. So I recommend getting out there, trialing a few and seeing what holds. The whole key to a good nappy is what holds. So no leaks. You are looking for no leaks. Now, you also need to consider the fact that you, of course, want a really good nappy at night so that your baby starts to sleep through eventually. Hopefully, that is, of course, the dream. And they're super absorbent because you don't want to leak as to be the culprit as to why they are waking up. My big nappy tip here is start to double nappy your baby at night when they start to get close to sleeping through. Yep, double nappy. So 2 nappies on at night. This is a huge game changer because if there's a leak in the first one, it goes into the second one and nobody gets woken up, okay? My other tip when it comes to what to buy for your baby or when the baby comes is have a dryer at home. I know this sounds maybe silly, but a lot of people don't have dryers. We didn't have a dryer before we had Noah. We just didn't use it. We always just dried our clothes outside because I guess we weren't ever in any sort of urgency to have dry clothes. Well, you will be when this baby comes. I'm talking milk stains, poo stains, food stains. Your baby goes through clothes like you'll be going through coffee each day. So make things easy for yourself by getting a dryer if you do not have one. And when putting clothes in the dryer, just make sure that you take out the bibs with the silicone teething bits attached to them, as they will melt. Just watch, of course, what you're putting in this dryer, but really handy for all the hundreds of onesies that you'll be going through every single day. Now, the other thing I would be buying when it comes to you mamas is a pregnancy recovery tights. So lots of brands now sell these online. These are tights that I guess you live in tights anyway, so you may as well be wearing the ones that help you with your recovery. You can also add a belly band for extra help after the birth. So I will link the ones that I used while I was in my postnatal period in order to help you guys out. But of course, find ones that you're comfortable with. They're really handy, and of course, they're really easy to pop on as well and wear throughout the day. Now, a few tips before I go when it comes to what you're buying for your baby. As I said before, be savvy. So Facebook Marketplace, places such as Gumtree in Australia, these will be your new best friend. You can save hundreds on any baby products that you don't mind owning secondhand. And I'm talking things like prams where you could get them for a fraction of the price. I know the temptation to buy everything brand new is there when it comes to your first baby, but trust me, you can get some really good deals online. So make sure you are looking and scrolling through these regions. Now, when you are buying anything baby related at any baby store or even at the chemist, so any skin products and things like that, make sure you price match. Most major general and baby department stores do a price match, even to online prices. So make sure you look this up and get yourself a bargain there. Now, try to think ahead whenever you are buying any supplies for the baby, especially when it comes to creams, food, and utensils. So go to a great discount chemist, stock up on all these things like baby rice cereal, bottles, treats, medicine, things like that. It saves you taking a trip every time you run out, because the last thing you want to be doing is running to the chemist with your crying, annoyed baby, overtired, all this stuff. But if it's the first time your baby is trying something food related, this is another point, then only get the one item or packet, because if your baby has a reaction to it, as you'll soon find out, this is a whole thing, trying new foods on babies, and we will tackle it in an episode to come. But if your baby has a reaction to it or hates it, then you've just wasted your money because you've thought you've found a bargain and you've bought like 400 of them. So those are my little tips when it comes to getting out there and spending money on these little cute critters. Now, one extra tip that I have forgotten when I was talking about the pram, and I will get to right now, is a little note that I've popped next to my notes here that I just do not want to miss. I know it's really tempting to get all the accessories for your pram, and some of them are great, like little caddies where you can put your mobile phone, but do not, I repeat, do not, and this is something I learned in my first aid course for children, do not buy a coffee cup holder for your pram. Never ever put any type of hot drink around your baby, and coffee cup holders are so dangerous because they are so close to your baby. And I know it might seem like you'll just put it in there and of course it won't open up, it won't spill, anything like that. It is just too risky. So this is one thing I really want to pop in there. Sorry I missed it when I was talking about prams, but I will repeat it now. Do not buy a coffee cup holder for your pram because it is just too risky. And I guess only buy it maybe if you're going to put your water bottle in there, but they're pretty small as well. So that is just my tip when it comes to those coffee cups. Well, I hope some of those tips are helping you guys in putting together this, I guess, lengthy list of things that you will buy or need to buy for your baby, and also giving you some tips on how to be savvy about these purchases as well. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you are loving this podcast, I really hope you are. I'd love it if you could subscribe so that we can get it out there and more people can see and listen and get these tips for themselves. You know how hard it can be having a baby. So the whole point of this podcast is that I can help people and give them this advice and these tips to get them through this crazy period. And also, if you do have the time, if you could leave a review, I would be forever grateful for that. Before I leave, I am going to be doing another giveaway. I really want to make this a episode thing, so hopefully we have enough things to give away. So in today's episode, we have done it before and we will do it again. I am giving away a copy of my book, My Mummy Loves Fudge. It's a children's book, but it's also for adults. It's really cheeky, and it's just the book that you want on your bookshelf in between the whole I love ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, because it's a great laugh, not just for mamas and dadas, but also for babies and toddlers. Hey, if you would like to win that, you know where to go. I will put the link in the show notes. Pop your email in, enter the giveaway, and it could be yours. Hey, thanks so much for listening. I will see you next week.